So I was on Facebook earlier today and I stumbled on a picture of myself from 10 years ago. Facebook often does that. It brings back a photo or a post that you made many, many years ago. And this particular photo was from 10 years ago. I remember just looking at my phone thinking, wow, 10 years have gone by. 10 years, a full decade. I was staring at myself from 10 years ago, the 19-year-old Ali. And it brought back memories from that period in my life. I remember feeling extremely anxious. I was feeling uncertain about the future. I had just finished retaking my A-level exams, which is secondary school, for those of you that are unaware here in the UK. A-levels are the exams you do prior to going to university. First time round, I didn't get the grades. Second time round, I didn't get the grades. So after spending a year retaking my exams and then getting my results and looking at my results and seeing a C and 2 Ds. The C was in geography, I believe. And then I got a D in chemistry and biology. I remember feeling deflated. I remember feeling like I was an idiot. And then I remember feeling extremely uncertain about my future. I didn't know what was in store. All of my friends were finishing their first year of university and talking about how amazing their experience was in a different city and everything. And I was just there thinking like, fuck, man, where do I go from here? I went online, I started applying for jobs. I got a job working in a restaurant as a waiter. I was there for a very short period of time. I hated it. And then I moved to a warehouse and I was arranging groceries and stuff for Tesco's, I believe at the time. Long ass shift. I remember feeling like a prisoner when I was going to that job because I was wearing a high-vis jacket and I was almost like an inmate being processed. You know, you had to scan your way in and there was loads of people wearing high-vis jackets and I just felt like an inmate, I remember feeling at the time. And I just thought, shit, man, is this going to be my life for the next 20 years, 30 years? It's scary when you don't have a plan. It really is. That's why a lot of men often fall into a state of depression because they lack direction. And that's how I was feeling at the time. I didn't have a formal education that I could be like, hey, this is going to help me. I didn't have anything. There wasn't anyone that was going to plug me into a high-paying job. No. I just had to get out there and start working. And although I had all these feelings of extreme anxiety and feelings of confusion, there was something in me that told me, you'll figure it out. There was something in me that told me, you're destined for big things. I knew that I wouldn't allow myself to settle into a mundane, repetitive existence. I knew what I didn't want, put it this way. I knew that very quickly. Within the first few months of working these lesser skilled jobs, shall we say. No offense, you know. A job's a job. And as long as it's moral, legal, and ethical, then you shouldn't feel that you're doing anything wrong. Now, if you have big aspirations, big dreams, well, then you have to understand the circumstance that you're in and make a plan to get the hell out of it. It took me a while. And I remember just jumping from one job to the next. I wouldn't be in a job for more than 3 months, really. Granted, at the time I was living with my parents, so I could almost afford to keep bouncing around. But it was still bothering me because I wanted something to sink my teeth into and get really good at, but I didn't know what. So I just started experimenting with different things. After the warehouse jobs, I got into a telesales environment. I was selling telecommunication services on the phone. And I've spoken about this before. That job, looking back at it, completely altered the direction of my life, because had it not been for me getting into sales, I wouldn't have developed my communication skills as well as I did and as quickly as I did. Because I got that job when I was only 19 years old. And I remember walking in and there were just pink sheets on the desks. There were no computers. There were corded telephones. And we're not talking 40 years ago, right? We're talking 10 years ago. But I remember walking in thinking, hang on a sec. I expected a nice fancy office with bean bags and a nice coffee machine. And all I got was a really uncomfortable desk chair, which they probably bought from auction or something, right? A desk, a very basic desk, and some pieces of paper and a corded telephone. I remember the training was only about 2 hours. I think the guy's name was Mark or something. And then he was just like, all right, off you go. Start making some dials. And I remember thinking, fuck it now, man. What? You want me to start speaking to random strangers after only 2 hours of training? But sure enough, that's exactly what I did. I got on the phone. I started calling some random people, trying to sell a service that I was really not very informed on because I only had 2 hours of training. And I remember feeling very uncomfortable. People were telling me, fuck off, mate. Why are you calling me? Who is this? And I just remember thinking like, shit, man. It felt bad in the beginning. It really did. I took it personal, 100%. I'd be lying if I said I didn't, right? I really internalized all those insults. I remember thinking, fucking hell, man, this is going to be long. People were quitting within the first week of starting. I managed to stay in that job for about 3 or 4 months before I left myself. But then the sales bug stayed in me, right? After leaving that job, I tended to stick to sales jobs. I was applying predominantly for sales jobs. I didn't want to go back to a warehouse because I felt like I wasn't developing any skills. I was just lifting, placing, right? I wanted to become a bit more skillful at something. And I told myself, well, if I can get really good at communicating on the phone, that will help me going forwards in life in many different ways. I'm sure it will, right? It would make me more outgoing. It would make me more confident in terms of speaking to random strangers, even in real life. It would make me more confident to deliver a speech in front of a group of people. So that period in my life was the experimentation period. Between the ages of like 19 to 25, I dabbled with many different side hustles, I guess you could call them, right? I got into social media marketing. I did that for a few months. I secured a client or two and then they dropped off. And I remember thinking, okay, is this something I really enjoy doing? I did it properly. Believe me, I bought a course for $1,000. You know, I was staying up all night learning about it, but I didn't feel that connection to the industry as much as I wanted to. And then I stumbled on trading back in 2016, 2017, but I didn't really take it seriously until around 2019, 2020. It was always something that was within the vicinity, right? But it wasn't something that I really sank my teeth into. But then I started to get really curious about it. I started to read into it a lot more. I bought several courses on trading. See, I was never scared of investing in myself. I really wasn't. Because I knew that it will benefit me in some way. Even if I don't see the return on investment immediately, I knew that it was still going to help me. I didn't know exactly how it was going to help me, but I knew it will help me. And this is something I say to young guys all the time. Don't be afraid of investing in yourself. That never goes to waste. Every experience teaches you something. Every experience is valuable. Don't just look at it from a monetary perspective. It grows you as an individual. I took a course on social media marketing. I'm not doing social media marketing right now. Now, I'm involved within social media, so I create content on TikTok, YouTube, etc. But I'm not selling SMMA products or services. I'm not selling Google ads or Facebook ads. But just the fact that I took that course makes me more informed about the world of social media marketing. So I understand when somebody talks to me about Facebook ads and scaling your business through Facebook ads, the power of Facebook ads. I understand these things, even though I'm not doing it as a career. I spent thousands. I don't see the amount that I invested as a waste. I see that as money well spent. And if I could go back, I'll do it again. And you know what? I'd spend even more to acquire even more information from people that were even more successful in their line of work, right? So I told myself, eventually you'll figure it out. I didn't know how. I really didn't. Eventually, Ali, the dots will connect. I remember getting involved in a network marketing company, which, look, I'm not the biggest fan of the industry. I'm no longer a part of it, of course. But I remember how it transformed my communication skills, because I was in an environment where I was constantly presenting in front of people. And that really took me out of my comfort zone. It really did. Forget the product for a minute. It was the environment of having to present, of having to talk about a service or a product to a group of people. That was a very valuable experience. And then just slowly, things started to connect for me. I developed more of an interest in trading. I bought, as I mentioned, courses on trading. I started making money trading. It was money here and there. It wasn't a six-figure immediate payout. No. It was periods where I made a few thousand, then I lost a few thousand, and then I was like, why did I lose that? And then I went back to the drawing board. I developed my skill sets over time. And then I realized that if I was really to become great at something, I needed to lock in to one thing. I understood the power of mastery in that particular period in my life. After failing for a while, I told myself, right, Ali, you now have to sink your teeth into one thing. A man who chases two rabbits gets none. So I decided that my thing was going to be trading. Now, in that moment, did I feel like I was making the right decision? No, because I had no way of predicting what the outcome would be. But I was curious enough about trading that I wanted to learn about it on a regular basis. See, what you need in the beginning, gentlemen, is curiosity. You don't need to be passionate. So you know when people tell you find something you're passionate about, that's bollocks, mate. That piece of advice is crap, because you're not going to be passionate about something that you know nothing about. Passion comes when you get really good at something, when you become extremely competent in that line of work. Then you're going to be like, well, I'm passionate about what I do. Of course you are. You're being rewarded. You're being compensated very highly. But in the beginning, you have no idea what you're getting into, so you can't be passionate about it, right? So I decided I was going to choose the world of foreign exchange trading as my high income skill. And then at the same time, I realized that I still had my speaking skills that I could take advantage of from working in sales, various sales jobs over the years. I realized, okay, well, this speaking thing is natural to me. I say natural to me. Of course, I wasn't great at it in the beginning. But around 25, 26, I was like, you know what? I've been in various sales jobs over the last 5-6 years. I've spoken in front of groups of 100, 200, 300 people when I was involved in network marketing. So I realized, well, I had an asset that I could take advantage of. Why not just try and use it and see what happens? So I started making videos online and talking about various different topics: mindset, the power of the subconscious mind, relationships, my personal experience. Of course, everything I speak about is predominantly from my personal experience, although I do love to reference people that are very successful, or people that were very accomplished, such as Jim Rohn, the late, great Bob Proctor as well, Tony Robbins. I was very interested in that space of personal development. So I realized, you know what? It takes 5-10 minutes to record a video. Let me just record a video and see where it takes me. And I started doing that, and things started to grow, and people started to receive the videos in a very positive way. And I carried on doing my trading, doing my videos, doing my trading, doing my videos. And then I just found myself in this career, I guess you could call it. There's no specific word for it. Like, I would say that I'm a trader and an image consultant and speaker, right? There's various things that I do, but it's pretty much blended into two things: currency trading and a personal development coach / speaker. So I found myself doing things that brought me a lot of joy and fulfillment. And I'm 29 now, and God willing, I'll be 30 in May. But I remember just looking at that photo earlier today thinking, wow, man, I have so much sympathy for that 19-year-old Ali. If I could meet him now, I'll tell him, don't worry, you'll arrive exactly where you need to be. It's okay to feel confused. It's okay to feel lost. You're not supposed to be certain about every aspect of your life. The process of discovering who you are is in itself a very enjoyable, I guess you could call it. Not in the moment, definitely feels weird in the moment. It feels very uncomfortable. But there's joy in the unpredictability of life. If you had everything mapped out from the day you were born to the day you died, there wouldn't be really much of a reason to live. If you knew exactly who you were going to marry, how many kids you were going to have, how much you were going to earn from the age, let's say someone told you that when you were 10 or 11. It takes away from the spontaneity of life. It takes away from that excitement. So the fact that you don't know is exciting because you could be way bigger than you ever thought you could be. A lot of successful people say that. I'm far more successful than I ever dreamt of becoming. And that's what makes life worth living. Earl Nightingale had the best definition of success when he said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. As long as you are progressing at something that brings you value, brings you fulfillment, then you are a success. The progressive realization of a worthy ideal. That is what makes life worth living. It's not a destination, it's the progressive realization. Oh, wow, I'm better at this skill than I was 90 days ago. That's exciting. What else can I accomplish? I went from not knowing nothing about this to now knowing more than most people. And by the way, they've done studies on this. It takes about 20 hours to be more competent than 80% of people on a certain subject matter. So for example, if you were looking to learn how to trade and you spent 20 hours involved in the world of trading, you know far more about that now than the majority of people in the world. Okay, so you don't need to be in the game for 10 years. No, 20 hours. You're not going to be an expert in 20 hours, but you'll know quite a bit in 20 hours. So this is, I know this video started off with me talking to almost my 19-year-old self, but I wanted to address this to you folks who are, between the ages of 17 to 25. The dots will connect. The dots will connect. Just believe, have this naive belief almost that it will work out. Choose to believe that it will work out, because what's the alternative? Believing that you will fail, believing that you're not destined for success. Which one has the better return on investment? The one where you choose to believe in you. There's already people out there that will do the job of not believing in you for you. Don't be one of those people. You've got you for the rest of your life. Support yourself. Speak encouraging words to yourself. Tell yourself, no, it's destined. Don't know how. When you go to your warehouse job tomorrow morning, just tell yourself, you know what? It's going to happen. I know the dots will connect. I don't know how, but I know they will. I know they will. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a like. If you want to join the top 3% community, the link to join the community is down in the description below. We've reached 10 members and we are continuing to grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.